What's up? What's up? I'm here. You're here. We're here together. So glad you could join me. I hope you have your favorite emotional support drink. Stay rooted. Stay rooted. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Like it. Woo, we got so much to talk about today. If you saw the title, then you already know we are about to get into a very deep, sometimes heavy, but much needed conversation. And everybody is not at a place emotionally or mentally to have these type of conversations, but I do thank God that I am. And so I'm willing to step into the fray and open up the lines of communication so that we can truly get past, or I would say expand where we are right now when it comes to mamas passing away during childbirth. And when it comes to the disparities that we are seeing happening in hospitals and in medical facilities that are responsible for pregnant women and their children. This tea is so good. I put a lot of different herbs in my tea just depending on how I feel. This tea I got some St. John wort because, it's wintertime and the winter blues get to me sometimes. So I have St. John wort, Damiana, dandelion, turmeric. The pinch of cayenne peppers was taking it to the next level. Woo, so good. And what else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. What else was in here? I don't remember. But yeah, it's herbal tea, fresh out the root. It's really good. So I hope you got your emotional support drink. I hope you got a notebook if you need it. And I hope that we really can tackle some things and push this thing forward as far as moving past these numbers and dropping these numbers. I don't even really know where to start other than my own experience. Whew, as you may already know, I have 6 children, and I even have a grandbaby now. And I've had 6 different birth experiences, 6 different childbirth experiences, and each one has taught me something that is extremely valuable. Each one carried one over into the next, over into the next. So I have birth stories for days. Then on top of that, I'm a childbirth doula. So I help women have babies. And I'm just really very much into the mama experience. I'm very much into what it means to be feminine, what it means to be a woman, how to tap into our femininity, how to embody who we are as feminine beings, feminine energy. And masculine energy is kind of it, especially in today's society, especially if you live in America. Masculine energy is it's pervading everywhere. You're not going to get away from it. And if you're single or a lot of times in these relationships where it's 50-50, then you're working and you're out in the masculine world quite often. Now, if you're a stay-at-home mom, or you came into some inheritance and you don't really work like that, or whatever your situation, and that's different. But for most of us, we have to get out here, we have to work, we have to grind, we have to pay our bills, we have to take care of our children, and take care of our families. So the masculine energy is there. It always is, like, here, all over. Right? And so we have to deliberately tap into the feminine energy, the feminine essence, the feminine spirit, because both of them together create balance. And that's part of why you see so much imbalance in the world, because that feminine masculine energy is very, very imbalanced. But that ain't what I came out here to talk about. No, 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 no. If you see the title of this video, then you already know what we're talking about. We're talking about, and this is a very delicate and mature conversation. So if you're not into it, if this is not your zhizh, if it's too much or you think it's going to be too much, then I respectfully ask that you log off this conversation. Because one thing we're not going to do in 2026 is pretend like heavy conversations are too hard. They are too hard for some people. If you haven't embodied the emotional capacity to handle intense conversations, that's fine. You may need to go where those conversations are not like that, because here on this platform, we're going to the root. We're going to the core. We're getting to the point. That's what we're doing over here. And so in today's conversation, we are talking about maternal mortality. And unless you've been living under a rock or, you just don't know, women in this country are dying at an alarming rate from something that is very natural, something that their bodies were made to do. Yet, when they step into a hospital room, a lot of them don't come home. And the reasons why aren't necessarily medical. So we need to talk about it, because in the midst of the numbers rising, women of color, Black women, brown women, red women, yellow women. Yeah, if you know the spectrum, you know. If you know, you know. But women of color are 3 to 5 times. And you know what? Let me back that statistic on up, because quite actually, the way it's being reported, Black women in America are dying at 3 to 5 times a higher rate than their white counterparts. And now there's finally conversation. There's finally a lot of talk about it. But the conversation seems to be going, I'm not going to say it's going in the wrong direction, because there is no wrong here. We have to talk about it all. We got to put it all out there. So I'm not going to put that out, but I do feel like it's time that we expand the conversation. There's more to be had in this conversation. Is there systemic racism in the healthcare industry? Absolutely. And if you think it's not, therein lies the problem. Like, we have to embrace the truth. We have to accept the truth for what it is, so that we can then decide how we want to move forward. Right? But if we're not willing to be honest, and we're not willing to call a thing, then we're never going to get there. And so, is there systemic racism in hospitals? Yes. Could there be more education around, culture, around language, around environment? Yes. Do a lot of mothers, especially Black mothers, come into childbirth with ignorance, with trauma, with just life responsibilities that are weighing them down and holding them down, probably at a different rate or a greater rate than others? Yes. We are not over here to sugarcoat, and people's feelings and emotions really don't serve us at this moment. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start this platform and have these conversations, because the emotions are valid, but they will not navigate us through this experience. A lot of people, including myself, 3 years ago when I started having this conversation and going to hospitals and talking to officials in medical facilities, and working with other doulas and working with midwives, and really getting into this conversation, the emotions are real. They're high. I was very emotional because I was triggered. There was so much that triggered me when these conversations started. I was so angry based off of my last experience. It was my 6th child. I had been doing so great and wonderful for 5 births, and I get to my 6th birth, and it was not ideal. It was less than ideal. And so when you look at like the decline, what are we going to do about it? We can stay emotional, we can keep getting triggered, but once all that passes, then what? Because right now, as we're having this conversation, there is a mother somewhere in this country, somewhere on this planet, that is prepared to bring life into the world, and she is terrified. She's not scared. Scared is okay. You know, who wouldn't be scared? But terror, being a form of terrorism, terror, like she would rather have her baby on the side of the street, or she would rather have her baby anywhere but a hospital. I mean, let's talk about it, okay? And today we're going to talk about, I'm going to share with you my experience, my personal experience. There is wisdom in this experience. So if you are really serious about wanting answers, wanting solutions, and wanting to move past the emotionalism and really get to the core, then let's continue this conversation. I'm going to share with you my personal story, and then we're going to get into what you can do right now. If you're in the hospital watching this, you might be in your hospital bed right now, watching this live or watching this video, and you need answers. You're terrified. You're beyond scared. You're not clear or sure. Something feels off. And you need some perspective. You need some clarity and some guidance from somebody who's been there. This is the conversation for you. If you would like to have a different conversation where, somebody doesn't necessarily have the solution but can tell you all about the problem, this ain't the conversation. Mm-mm. This conversation is how do we not even change. I'm not even going to use that word. How do we move on? How do we move beyond this? How do we settle this and move beyond? How do we change the narrative for Black women in America giving childbirth? How do we do that? Oh, you got to change the healthcare system. Oh, you got to change her circumstances. Oh, these mothers come in here and they already sick and they got high blood pressure and they're, on drugs and there's this and there's that. And none of that matters. We're talking about the future of humanity. When a woman is having a baby, when a woman gives birth, she is giving life to the next generation. So if you care anything about that, it's important that we get a grip on this real quick, because it's creating a life of its own at this point. Do women die? Or I have to watch what I say, honey. Do women... Sorry, guys. That was my daughter calling me, letting me know that she made it to her destination. Okay, so this is why it's so important that we have these conversations. Now, I do apologize for the interruption. That was me on mama duty. That was my child calling me. So, yeah, I had to answer that call. But let's go ahead and let's go into the conversation. There are some practical steps that you can do that I'm going to share with you in today's conversation. But I wanted to share with you kind of my story a little bit, because like I said, there is value in the story itself. That's where we find wisdom a lot of times, is through storytelling. So allow me to share with you my story. Okay. And how having this one thing in place saved my life. And I truly believe that having this one thing in place that I'm going to share with you is the reason why I made it home from the hospital, is the reason why I survived childbirth. And that's really wild to say because, like I said, I gave birth 6 times or 5 times previously. But to think that, to have the thought that it's possible I may not have made it home on that last one is, yeah, that's scary. So basically, what happened was it's my 6th pregnancy. I'm in a new state. I'm in where I'm from, but I'm not gonna say the city because if I tell you the city, child, you really gonna be like, "Woo, you made it." However, so yeah, so I'm in my 6th pregnancy, and most of my pregnancies kind of go over. Um, I usually, well, no, that's not true. Half the pregnancies I delivered early, the other half were late. So my 6th pregnancy, she decided I'm going to be overdue. I like it in here and I'm staying in here. So I go to my appointment. I say I'm about 7 days. Yeah, I'm about a week overdue. Okay. So I go for the non-stress test, and, you know, they hook you up. If you don't know, they hook you up to a monitor, and they just kind of monitor the baby's heartbeat, and they monitor if you have any contractions that maybe you're not feeling, to see, and then just to make sure that the baby is not stressed out from being in there, make sure you have enough amniotic fluid, the whole nine. So I'm taking the stress test, and they decide, you know what, we are going to keep you for observation. This chair swirls around even when I don't want it to. We're gonna take you in. See, I'm swirling again. I don't want to swirl. Come back. We're gonna take you in for observation, and just monitor you a little bit longer. And I said, okay, no problem. And so, I want to get to the point that really matters the most. So after about 2.5 hours of monitoring, the baby's heart rate fluctuating, and the contractions not coming in cadence, but pretty strong, and a lot of contractions that I couldn't even feel. So I was considered active labor, and while I'm in active labor, I'm thinking, based off of my experience from my previous pregnancies, my previous 5 pregnancies, I've had my babies in 5 different states. So I've had 5 different experiences, right? And with each one, I've only had one OBGYN at this point. To my 6th child, I only had one OBGYN. And then the rest of the time I had midwives. So this 6th birth, I'm having an OBGYN. But she is the most highly recommended OBGYN. She is a woman. She is a Black woman. She is the head of the OBGYN department. I'm like, I got the pick of the litter. And so the resident comes in, sees my strip from monitoring the baby, and says, you know what? We're gonna have to, according to the strip, according to the reading on the paper, we're going to have to induce you. What we do in cases like this is we induce you. So we're going to prep you for induction. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're not, whoa. Huh? I think I heard, this is exactly what I told him. I said, I think I heard you said you're going to induce me. And he said, oh, yes, that's what we do. We induce. He said, yeah. I said, no, we're not doing an induction. And he was like kind of startled, like, well, what do you mean? We're not doing an induction. I said, what we're going to do is you're going to tell me my options. I'm going to discuss it with my husband. And then I will come back and I will let you know what I've decided. Why did I do that? You talk about making yourself a mark did I do that? Listen, he ain't like that. He ain't like that. And we didn't exchange words, but he did like make me reiterate it a couple times. Like, wait a minute, you mean what? Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, because in my mind and in my experience, that's how it's done. All the other cities, and they were major cities all over the country, but they had a different economic status. They had a different demographic, let's just say, than where I was at my sixth birth. So to be told that this is what's going to happen to you and this is how this is going to go with no consideration, with no question, without asking me first, like, I was offended. So I said, no, we're not doing it that way. And that wasn't my experience. I had the privilege, even the OBGYN that I had. Well, let me see, I had one, two, yeah. Okay, yes. Even the first OBGYN I had was a man, German man, male doctor, who had been birthing children for literally 40 years. He was in his 60s. And he even gave me options and listened to what I had to say and followed my direction. Like a midwife. I teased him all the time. And I was like, you're like a male midwife. Like he was just so accommodating and going with my pace. And so that's what I was used to. So here I am in an inner city, demographic, here I am in an inner city. The demographic is different. And baby, the treatment was different too. And I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for that. So I responded in the way in which I knew how to respond. And I said, no, we're not doing that. You're going to give me my options. I'm going to review it with my husband. And then we will let you know what we decided. And we can come up with a plan from there. We can work it out from there. You're not going to induce me. That's not what I want. So according to the strip, this is what he said. According to the strip, the baby is in distress and you need to be induced. Get out your notebooks, ladies, because I'm about to give you some tea that's going to save you the drama. Okay? I'm about to give you some tea that's going to save you the drama. And if you can memorize this line right here that I'm going to give you, this will pretty much put them on notice that you're not the one or the two. And that's what you have to do as soon as you walk up in there. I'm not saying come with a bunch of attitude and a bunch of bite and a bunch. No, don't do that, because no one wants to be treated that way. And they don't deserve it. Nurses, doctors, they don't deserve that. A lot of times they are working, 12, 20-hour days. So you coming in there with the whole attitude and freaking out and taking your anger out on them, they're not equipped for that. And I said what I said. They are not equipped to handle your emotions. So you got to handle your emotions. And that seems to be the break, in my opinion, of where things go left really quick and easy. Because we're expecting medical professionals to manage our emotions, to manage our capacity for the emotions that come with childbirth. And they don't have it to give. They don't have a skill set. They don't. So me knowing this, I immediately sent the resident on his way, and I called my husband. And I was like, now I'm in front of the resident, your girl was like, what are we doing? But when he left that room, I ran and called my husband. I was crying. My husband couldn't be there. He had to be at home. He was at home with the younger children. So mind you, I just went for a routine checkup. So I didn't even know that I was going to end up stuck in the hospital for hours. So I called my husband and was like, I'm crying. I'm frantic. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, what is happening here? He just told me they want to induce me. I don't want to be induced, because I knew being induced meant a much more painful and probably prolonged labor. So I was just like, I don't want to do this. So we called for backup, and I called my midwife from my previous delivery 3 years prior, 2.5 years prior. I called my midwife, and I explained to her what was happening, where I was at. I'm in the hospital. Like, they want to induce me. I don't do the induction thing. Like, what are we doing? And she gave me some of the best advice. Shout out to Naima. Love you. She gave me the best advice that just helped me to pivot in that moment. And so I'm going to share it with you. And so I hope you're taking notes. Please be taking notes, honey. All right. She said, well, the body already knows what to do. God already knows when your baby is meant to be born. The exact time, day and hour is already ordained in a sense. So all you have to do is what mama do. She lay back and she allows, right? She said if you get induced, that's gonna like not confuse her, but just interrupt the flow of what's already happening. And so this is why induction is so dangerous. It'll speed it up. It'll move it faster. It'll get you quicker to your result. Quicker doesn't always mean better. Faster does not always mean better. There is so much sweet, succulent juice in taking your time in the process. I mean, you done went 9 months, 10 months. What's a couple more hours? Okay? Let mama cook. You feel me? And that's just not something that the medical industry, the healthcare industry allows. And so, I'm on the phone with her. She's like, if you get induced, it's going to kind of disrupt the flow of what's already happening. And that is what leads to a C-section. You don't say. Is that what leads to a C-section? And that's all she had to say to me. I was like, girl, say less. Say less, because I am not interested in being induced. So, and I was very big, and I still am, very big on going with the natural flow. Okay? It's so important to go with the natural flow. It's when we come in, we want to tinker with things, and we want to fiddle with things, we want to move things back, we want to have an opinion about how it should be. That's when things get messed up. That's when things go left. Okay? It's okay to let it cook. All right? So I was dead set against the induction, and I made that up in my mind. When the resident came back and he was basically like, where we at? I said, you know what? I'm gonna wait until my midwife gets here, and when she gets here, I'm thinking in my head, she's like the cavalry. Like when she comes and gets on the floor, then she's gonna have my back, and everything's gonna go my way. Like I literally had that in my head because 5 previous births, that was how I was treated. That was my experience. Mind you, I started having babies 30 years ago. So I got something to compare it to. Now, fast forward, they're telling me, so I'm, he's telling me, no, you have to be induced. So I'm just like really confused. But I'm thinking when my OB gets here, she's no joke. She's the head of the OBGYN department. She delivers all the doctors, the nurses, babies. She is a rider. She ain't here to play. She a sister. She got my back. That's what I thought. That's literally, and I was just like, I'm chilling. I'm waiting for her to get here. Because when my doctor gets here, it's on and popping. Because I had already explained to her, I want to have an orgasmic birth. I want to have a natural birth. I don't want any medications. I've done this numerous times. I think I got it. And so about another hour or so passed. And here comes my doctor. She's running through the door like, hey girl, hey. Listen, let me tell you what they tried to do. I don't want to do. And she just cut me off mid. And started going off on me. She started chastising me. She started telling me what I'm going to do, what I should do, what I better do. I said, all right. She just got a little bass in her voice. And she just proceeded to tell me what was going to happen, what she's going to do, and what I'm going to do. Like, she narrated the whole situation. Sis, come on now, sis. Yeah, that's what happened. And I listened, and then I responded. And I said, well, what makes you think that? She said, do you see this strip? I'm not about to get in a lawsuit because you want to go natural. You know what I mean? You know how many mothers want to go natural? She had this whole monologue. I wish I had recorded all those years ago. She had this whole monologue. She said, you know how many mothers, I know you want to have a natural birth. I know you got your heart set on it, but I wanted a natural birth too, but I had both of my sons through a C-section. That's just what it is. You can't always get what you want. Okay, sis. Whatever you say. Because, she's educated. And in her mind, I'm not. Wink, wink. Okay? And so intelligent people ask questions. She didn't ask the right questions. She didn't know who she was talking to. She did not ask the right questions. She had no clue of my knowledge. She had no clue of my wisdom. She had no clue. So she just read me my rights, honey. She's like, I'm not getting sued just because you want to have a natural birth. Do you see this strip? This strip indicates that your baby is in distress. And we got to get to that baby now. So you're going to get the induction. And, that's just what it's going to be. So I'm about to give you something that can save your life and that can help you if ever you need to file a malpractice lawsuit. I want you to write this down, okay? After she gave the long speech of my baby being in distress, and it has to be done because according to the strip, according to what she's reading on the strip, my baby is in distress. And so that's what had to be done. And so I just simply asked her, and I want you to write this down verbatim. What is the medical indication that I need this procedure? What is the medical indication that I need this procedure? You must say it like that. Don't get in front of your doctor talking about, I don't need that. Why do I need that? Like, I'm good. Or I don't, don't do any of that. Just say it the way I gave it to you. What is the medical indication that I need that procedure? Look at that. 10 words. Okay? From that point, your medical professional, your doctor, must explain it to you. They must make sure that you have a clear understanding of what you're signing up for. So if they got to get translators, if they got to put it in Braille, like whatever they got to do to make sure that you understand the procedure first. That's very important. First. All right. Unless, God forbid you and the baby are like in a fatal position, like fatal, like it's do or die. If it's not that, yeah, they got to explain it. And once they explain it, if you don't understand, I would strongly suggest, even if you do understand what they're saying, that you request it in writing. Just for your records. Because legally, they have to explain everything they're doing to you. But we just kind of sign off because we're focused on the pain or the discomfort or whatever, and we don't really understand that. So I'm telling you that now. If you are going to a hospital in the United States, give birth, you need to have that statement on hand. And I'm talking about every time they come. Oh, we want to, here's a pill. What is that? What's the medical indication that I need that? Well, this is for, and they'll start coming in already with the explanation intact after they get to know you for a minute. You're like, oh, she don't play. Okay. So that's what you need to do. What is the medical indication that I need that procedure? All right. So what is it other than that? Let me finish the story because I don't want to leave y'all hanging. I'm sorry. I don't want to leave y'all hanging. Okay. So I said, what's the medical indication that I need that procedure? And the shock was real. I'm like, yo. I need to know. You talking about my baby. What is the medical indication I need that procedure? And she got a little, and that's when she really got offended. She's like, well, and the mask, when I say that mask dropped on the floor so fast, when I asked that question, the mask dropped. And she's like, she got really agitated, visibly frustrated, and just proceeded to go off and was just like, people sue all the time. I'm not going to get sued because you don't want to follow my direction. She's still never explaining to me, never answered my question, just deflected it. But here's what she said that deaded that just totally ended the conversation. I knew what I was working with at that point, and I fired her. When she said, I said, we were going back and forth, and I said, I know what's best for me and for my baby and my body. I know what it is that is going to be best for me, my baby, and my body. And her response, it was classic. And this is probably 9 times out of 10 what your medical professional or your doctor thinks about you. I'm just saying, I'm about to tell you. She said, no, you don't. I know what you need better than you. That's what she said. Now, I don't know what you heard, but I know what I heard. And I was like, ooh, she thinks she got over me. Mm-hmm. She thinks that she's my God. Girl. Pump brakes. Okay. So when I realized her mindset, when I realized how she saw me, how she saw herself, I immediately released that. Okay. I immediately got her out of my room, immediately got her off my case. You will not be touching me or my baby. Because that's not the attitude we're supposed to have up in here. And so that's what I did. And you can too. Was I scared? Yes. I was in the hospital with nobody. Like, my husband was at home. I had no family or relatives checking for me. Like, it was just me and the power of the Most High. And long story shorter, she sent me home. I fired her, and then I was told that I would have to go home to finish laboring, whatever that meant. Okay, cool. So when they signed me out and, they're discharging you or whatever, they gave me no instruction on how to continue to progress labor at home. It was like, if we're not dealing with you, you on your own, period. We don't give a damn about you or that baby. That's literally the attitude. So I want you to remember that. And this is one of the many reasons why mothers are afraid, terrified to give birth in a hospital. Because innately, subconsciously, intuitively, we know that it's a money grab. We know that they care more about the politics and the procedures than they ever would our bodies or our babies. That is a known fact. It is also known that if there are complications, the hospital is the most equipped to help in those situations. So it's kind of like a catch-22 a little bit. Yeah. So what do? Where do you go? How do you deal with that? So I'm going to give you some things that can really, really help you if ever you find yourself in this situation, and really to avoid this situation. Some of the things I'm going to share with you are going to help you to avoid this situation ever happening to you. Okay, there are great, let me preface this. There are some wonderful doctors and midwives and doulas in this world and in this country that truly are giving from the heart and truly are embodying their soul's purpose or their life purpose. They have golden hands and they have healing hands. But there are a lot of people who aren't that way. And so this is not to attack the ones that aren't. This is to support and honor the doctors, the doulas, and the midwives who are on point. I'm quite sure they would want you to have this information too. Okay? So we're going to rally together and empower you, because with your ability, your knowledge is your power. Let me give you your first lesson. First lesson, go on ahead and file and sign up for that childbirth class, please. ASAP. ASAP. And I don't care if this is your third child, your fifth child, your 10th child, your first child, it doesn't matter. Take the childbirth class. Your ignorance is a huge reason why they're able to get over on you. You've got to educate yourselves, loves. You've got to get that knowledge under your belt of what's even happening in your own body when you start to labor. It's super important. There's a track star who died during childbirth. And she was at home. She was 8 months pregnant. And she, according to the autopsy, showed signs that she was in labor, but she didn't know how to breathe. So she had respiratory complications, and then her blood pressure rose. That is why you learn to breathe during labor. There's a certain breathing pattern and technique that you have to use to keep your heart rate down. There's just so many things and so many factors that play. But your knowledge, your power of understanding your body and what's happening and how it works, that is the game changer. That's what's going to save your life. And through my story of what I shared earlier, boundaries is the number one word I want to leave you with as you leave this recording, as you leave this conversation. Boundaries. You have to set them. I had to set it with the resident. I had to set it with the doctor. And ultimately, I had to set it with the hospital, because I went home. I knew how to labor at home. So I did. And then about 2 days later, I was in active labor. So 2 days later, I went back. That doctor was nowhere in sight. I went back and I was able to give birth and have my orgasmic birth and do all the other things that I wanted to do. And we'll get into the rest of the birth story another time. What is an orgasmic birth like? We'll talk about that at some point. But I really just want to drive home the reality and the responsibility of mamas to have the knowledge, take yourself out of ignorance, get into the knowledge, and set boundaries. Very, 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 very important. I can't even say it enough. All right? So, one more thing I want to add to this conversation, because I'm looking at my notes. I want to make sure I get everything. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give you guys a list of the things that if you hold on to this list, you follow this list, it can really help you. It can really help you to feel more empowered when you go in for your birth experience. You know, the I guess the challenge is that you really don't know who's for you and who's against you. And that is crazy to go into a birthing experience and you don't know who's for you or against you. Crazy. So I need you to be for yourself, okay? And educate yourself. And I want you to also, excuse me, my experience of making it home from the hospital with my baby is unique in the fact that there are certain things that were in place. I'm going to share those things with you, okay? For one, I had a support system. My husband at the time and my midwife at the time, they stepped in there and they supported me in the moments when I was most vulnerable. I have to give shout outs to my children's father because in that moment, he did exactly what a great partner is supposed to do. Get you a partner that is going to listen to you. Get a partner that is going to focus only on you and your comfort. Get you a birth partner that can do that. Whether you got to pay them, hire them, whatever you got to do, you need that. Very important. So a support system. The other thing that you're going to need so that you can walk out of that hospital with your baby, you're going to need knowledge, not just the knowledge that the doctors and the nurses give you. You're going to need knowledge of your body, how your body moves, how, the process of childbirth, what that looks like, how that goes. You got to look at all of that. You got to learn, okay, your body and yourself and childbirth in general. Then I want you to incorporate your lived experiences. What are your lived experiences that you can pull from and draw from that and then integrate into your childbirth experience? You may be great at researching. You may be great at, at communication and being able to communicate your concerns to your doctor, right? You may love to read. So get in there and start reading those books like crazy. Whatever your lived experience is, you may have a profession or career that allows you and affords you the opportunity to integrate some of those skills into your childbirth experience. So that's really important, okay? The next thing I want you to write on your list, you got your support system, you got your knowledge, you have your lived experiences. And these next three, I want you to highlight them or put stars next to them because these next three are the game changers. Like they will take your birthing experience to the next level. Okay. That is having a birth plan. What is a birth plan? A written plan of how you want your birth to go. Do you want your child to be immunized? Do you want to breastfeed skin to skin right after delivery? Do you want the cord delayed? You want the cord cutting to be delayed? You have so many questions. You have so many things that you can say, this is what I want. And that was the game changer when I went back a couple of days later to have my baby, is that I went home and I started researching. I started learning my rights as a pregnant woman, as a childbearing person in the hospital. Like I went home for those 2 days and I got busy. And that's when I found out about a birthing plan. And I wrote out my birthing plan, figured it out, typed it up, got it all nice and cute, made copies, and brought several copies with me. Here you go. Here's my birthing plan. And in the state that I was in, by law, they have to take that plan, put it in the front of your chart. And anybody that touches that chart, they're touching your birth plan. They know what you expect. They know what it is that you want. And the only time they don't have to follow that birth plan is if you or your baby are in a terminal situation. So that gives you a lot of room to communicate, to talk, to say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is where I'm at. Can you accommodate this? Can you accommodate that? Because at the end of the day, my love, you are a customer. So you do have a say. Okay? All right. The next thing I want you to highlight, put a star next to, is you need a made up mind. Woo! Baby, that made up mind, it will get you far. Not just in childbirth, but in life. Make your mind up. Not just, oh, I'm going to visualize, coming out and having the baby. No, I'm not saying that. Of course, focus on the outcome. Focus on the end. Yes. But guess what else? You need to make up in your mind what is and is not going to happen to your body, what you will and will not allow. These are boundaries that are super important, okay? And the last thing is trust your body and remind yourself, I want you to write this down. My body already knows what to do because it does. Your body already knows what to do. So trust it, okay? Set those boundaries. In the next video, we'll talk about how to set those boundaries. It's not as hard as you think. And you'll be amazed. You could think, oh, I got boundaries, but you don't. Or you may not really know how you feel about having boundaries. And maybe that's why you don't have them. I don't know. But we're going to get into all that, okay? We're going to get into all of that. But in the meantime, I really trust that this video has served you well. I trust that there's something in this video that is changing the outcome for a mother out there right now. And that is making sure that she gets home safely. So we're going to go through it really quickly one more time. Boundaries is your saving grace. And knowing where the line is for you. What is it that you are willing and not willing to accept when it comes to your body and how it's being handled, how it's being treated, and your child. And learning how to really navigate those emotions so that you don't have to depend on the medical team to do it when they are not trained or equipped. You're going to get that support system popping. It could be one friend, it could be 10 friends. Get a support system. And not just to watch your back so nothing happened to you. No, to support you. To make sure that you are comfortable and that you feel safe and provided for. Okay? So get that support system. Get the knowledge. Educate yourself. What is going on with your body? What is that feeling? Why is this happening? What is this? What is it? Like, know your body. Know your body as it goes through childbirth. Learn. Take mental note. Write things down. Try new things. Knowledge is going to be your biggest power. And not just knowledge of what the medical industry or what the hospital wants you to know. Knowledge of yourself. Okay? And your body. All right? Lived experiences. Go ahead and integrate those. Pull from your own wisdom and your own understanding. You know more than you think. A birth plan. If you don't know how to do one, I'm quite sure there are plenty of free versions out there now. Years ago when I did mine, there were not. But now there are. You do have to set it up a certain way to make sure to get a certain result. And if you need help with that, of course, I'm here. Have a made up mind. Your mind is made up. Your body knows what to do. That's the other one. Trusting yourself. My mind is made up. My body knows what to do. The outcome is set. All I have to do is be here. Now. Be present and available to the birth of this baby. Okay? So I'm quite sure that's helping. Please put in comments if you would and let me know. And if you want to reach out or you want to work together, I'm available for that as well. If you have questions, I'm available for that. And I look forward to just, building and vibing and getting these numbers down because we can do it. Till next time. Cheerio.